Do you have memories from when you were very little, like back when you could only crawl? We all know that caterpillars transform into butterflies, but do butterflies remember being caterpillars? Caterpillars go through a process called the pupa stage. And inside the pupa, the caterpillars turn into this liquid goo. Yet somehow they manage to keep some of their memories intact. How do we know this? Well, scientists train caterpillars to dislike certain smells. And once the caterpillars transformed into butterflies, the scientists tested to see how they'd react to the smell. And guess what? The butterflies remembered to stay away from the bad smell. Imagine being completely transformed and becoming nothing but goo in between, but still holding on to important memories. And what if I told you that this is just part of a superpower waiting to be discovered? Join me and the experts and scientists from Melbourne Museum, ScienceWorks and the Immigration Museum as we uncover the superpower.
Have you ever wondered how bees find flowers? Flowers may look colourful, but there are actually patterns on flowers that are completely invisible to humans. Right in the middle of flowers, there are often nectar bullseyes, only visible to animals like bees that can see light that is not visible to humans. Plants have specifically evolved this to attract bees and guide them to the best spot for pollen collection. As bees move from one flower to another for a sweet treat, they inadvertently transfer pollen essential for the reproduction and growth of new plants. It's a remarkable relationship where both bees and plants benefit, demonstrating nature's perfect harmony of needs and capabilities. So next time you're outside, take a closer look at the flowers around you. See if you can spot patterns or colours you've never noticed before. And try to imagine how many more patterns you might see through a bee's eyes.
So, you probably already know plants have a special way of making food and helping us breathe. Plants absorb sunlight through green leaves, part of a process known as photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, carbon dioxide and water are transformed into sugar and oxygen. This sugar fuels the plant's growth, while the released oxygen is crucial for us to breathe. We can see photosynthesis in action with a fun experiment you can try. First, collect 2 big green leaves. Next, put them in see-through glasses. Cover the leaves with water. Next, put one glass in the sun and the other in a dark spot. After 2 hours, check both. Can you see oxygen bubbles on the one in the sun? This shows photosynthesis is happening and the plant is making oxygen. Plants, along with microbes and algae, have been crucial in creating the oxygen we depend on, adapting the atmosphere that supports life on Earth.
Even before the internet, people loved cats. In museum storerooms, we have countless items that prove that. Like this very old, handmade toy here at Melbourne Museum. And there are hundreds of pictures from the early days of photography of people hanging out with their furry friends. This is how we see cats. But have you ever wondered how cats see us? This is a representation of how your cat sees. Although they can see in colour, they can't tell the difference between similar shades. They might not see the same range of colour as us, and they can't see things as clearly from far away. But their unique way of seeing helps cats detect motion and see better in low light, which is an advantage because cats hunt at nighttime. If you notice your cat staring intently at something you can't see, remember their special vision helps them detect things in their environment that we can't. This helps cats to be natural hunters and is a good reason to keep your cat inside to protect our precious wildlife.
Have you started connecting the dots to discover the superpower? From understanding how bees' special vision helps them find flowers, to seeing how plants create their own sugar and oxygen, and even how cats' unique vision helps them to hunt in the dark. What is this remarkable superpower? Let's continue this journey with our experts.
We're in the History and Technology Collection store. These plastic fish are from the William Boyd Childhood Collection, which we look after so we can understand experiences of childhood through time. What's quieter than a single fish in the ocean? Well, an entire school of fish is actually quieter. That's because sound travels in waves. So if fish flap their tails out of sync, the waves created as the tails flap cancel each other out. This means that an overall sound created by a school of fish is much quieter than that made by a solo fish. This could be a reason why fish like to swim together. It helps them stay quiet and avoid predators. You know when you're in the bath or pool and you slide your head underwater? Have you noticed how sound changes? You'll notice the sound becomes much louder. That is because sound that is generated underwater mostly stays underwater. Very little passes from water to air. Plus, sound waves travel much faster in water than they do in air, which is why it's important for fish to move quietly to avoid being heard by predators.
It's right behind me, isn't it? The enormous taxidermy polar bear is pretty obvious in this museum storeroom, but when it was in the wild, it would have been much harder to see. Camouflage is a superpower that animals use to hide from predators, or in the case of this big bear, to allow them to sneak up on prey by blending in with their environment. It's how light bounces off their fur and skin that makes them appear white, and also helps to keep them warmer. While camouflage evolved over many thousands of years, climate change is happening very quickly. Sea ice is melting earlier in the spring and forming later in winter, leaving polar bears less time to hunt. It's a big problem to polar bears. It's important for us to keep old specimens like this so we can compare them to today's animals to see how they've changed. Maybe you can even come up with your own ways to blend in and observe nature without being noticed.
People experience the world in many unique ways. For example, people who are hearing impaired might use sign language to communicate. And some people who are blind have developed an incredible ability called echolocation. Yes, just like bats and dolphins. These people have found a way to use sound waves by clicking their tongue or tapping a cane to sense their surroundings through the echoes that bounce back. This isn't just about overcoming challenges, it's about thriving and finding new ways to interact with the world. Back in 2017, during a sleep study, scientists noticed something fascinating. A person with a severe hearing impairment was using fluent sign language in their sleep. Scientists could even tell what they were dreaming about by translating their signs. So, individuals can use their different abilities to navigate the world around them, showcasing hidden strengths waiting to be discovered. These are just a couple of examples of how people find incredible ways to navigate the world around them. So, what is this superpower that we've been exploring? We've discovered how bees see the world, how plants create their own food, how cats' vision helps them hunt, and even how fish can move quietly by cancelling out sound waves. All of these fascinating abilities point to one remarkable superpower: adaptation. Adaptation is more than changing a little. It's about adjusting to new situations and living more seamlessly in your environment. The natural world is full of incredible examples of how species and even the planet can adapt over time. Throughout history, all living things have developed unique traits to help them survive. In fact, we don't just survive challenges, we adapt and change because of them. And that is the superpower of adaptation. Thanks for joining us on this adventure. If you like this episode, you can find loads more activities and videos on the Science is a Superpower website. Just search for it or follow the link in the video description. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep sciencing.